So I've been skiing at least once a month since 2010, so that's 15 years. This year is my streak, they call it. And it's somewhat of an obsession, and it's also a great excuse for me to get out. I've had almost 40 season passes at Mission Ridge. Well, my first season pass was 1983. I must have been 12 years old. I keep track of things I do repetitively, and my spreadsheet says I've walked to the top of Mission Ridge almost 500 times. Mission Ridge has been part of my life since I was a little kid, starting when I was about 6 years old, and my mom dropped my sister and I off at the high school to get on a bus to go up for all-day ski lessons. I was a ski racer from youth to high school. I worked for the ski team as a coach. Both my kids grew up skiing here, and they're third-generation Mission Ridge skiers.
Oh, nice!
I don't think the community realizes the magnitude of this development or the impacts it's going to have on the water in our basin, how it's going to affect our ski area.
Damn, dude. There's more down here, dude. Massive herd of elk. I remember running out one day, and it was like the Serengeti out there. It was like thousands of elk, just cruising across the landscape. It was unbelievable. I'd seen the elk down there, and I'd seen the elk up on Mission Ridge, and I was like, these two places are connected, and the elk make that transition. And so, I was like, well, let's follow this migration. Like, there's an amazing line from the Columbia River all the way up to the top of Mission Ridge through the Colockum. That is what the elk do every single year. From the river to the ridge, back to the river. The Colockum herd, they winter down by the Columbia River. And then springtime, they follow the snow line all the way up to Mission Ridge. And then the Stimmel Basin that's their spot. And it's just like it's like an incubator for them. It's this protected area that is cozy. It has everything they need. It has all the water, has all the food. It's their home for the summer. And then as the snows start to fly, they make their way back down valley, back to the Columbia. And so it's really that unbroken swath of land there is so vital for them. So we have some of the winter come down onto our farm here. Every year we have a herd about 40 to 100 that come across our property here in Malaga. I'm a farmer here. I'm in Malaga. Early season, our water comes surface water from the Stimmel Basin. So that affects me directly in the quality of water that I get, that feeds my vegetables, that I feed my customers. The headwaters is an important part of any ecosystem. It's where it stores the water, it purifies the water, and it allows us down here to be able to utilize the water for our crops. If we're at the headwaters of the entire watershed, you are holding the master key for everyone else downstream. To me, that's a sacred duty.
Wenatchee's in what's the actual geographic center of Washington. And we're just south of where the continental ice sheet traveled. And they were melting maybe at the same time of the Great Missoula floods that were coming through. But Mission Ridge had no glaciers on it. and it's made of this basalt rock. And it then served as a place that plants and animals could be during all this ice activity. And then when the ice retreats, it served as a place of dispersal. And we have more plants that only grow in the Wenatchee Mountains or just a little around it than anywhere else in Washington. So we have a lot of interesting plants on Mission Ridge. One of them is the only place in Washington that it grows, and it's called anemone patens, and it is what we call a glacial relic. And then up here in Mission Ridge on the basalt, we're at the edge of what we call the shrub steppe, the whole Columbia Basin. It's meeting the mountains. So we get to have plants that are typical of shrub steppe or sagebrush grasslands meeting plants of the forest. So we have all those things making this a place of exciting diversity of plants. Whitebark pine is a tree totally dependent on a bird for planting the next generation of seed. So every time I go to the top of Mission Ridge, I just spend a moment standing next to a beautiful whitebark pine, thinking about this phenomenal story of mutualism and thriving because of partnership. I am a biologist and a naturalist, but more importantly, I am a resident who's so loved being nurtured by having Mission Ridge as a place I can come to for connection to nature, time alone, adventure, recreation, enjoying the view. It's really been maybe one of the most important reasons that makes Wenatchee such a great place to live.
We raise the best, cleanest fruit in the world, but we can't do it without our water. So the proposal for Mission Ridge's expansion is, realistically, it's a small town with stores, condos, houses. They're going to have literally thousands of people living there year-round. It would impact hundreds of people that are out here trying to make a living on the farming end, as well as the habitat that's around here. We owe it to the animals. For Pete's sakes, we're supposed to be human beings. We care about the environment. We need to care about our water. We need to care about our land, our soil. We need to care about our wildlife and our fish. It's our duty to take care of them.
But what Mission Ridge is doing is trying to sell this as an expansion of their ski resort. What it is a smoke screen.
The development doubles the crowding on the hill with only a token amount of new terrain. Beds for 7,812 people, 10,000 cars per day. That's twice the traffic on Stevens Pass.
As soon as he builds his resort, who's to say he's not going to sell it to the highest bidder? I mean, I think people don't quite understand that Mission Ridge is 100% on the United States Forest Service and Washington state land. They say that they're going to create more experiences for us, but at what cost? Taking away part of the elk's summer range. Man, there's already enough pressures on these animals from what we've been doing as humans, and why are we forcing things that don't necessarily need to happen?
If you stay up there till it's all the way dark, you can see the northern lights, which I've gotten to do twice this year.
I just don't understand what we are gaining from this project. To me, we're sacrificing this place, this unique place that just cradles us. It's more about caring. Like, we should be really thinking about reciprocity. Like, how can we give back? How can we actually be true stewards in concert with the land up there that is giving us so much joy?